and welcome to the Fitness Oracle, where we have real conversations with real people just like you, with real stories just like yours. And this is one of their stories. I am your host, John Katsavos. My guest today is Carmen Fernandez from the Flower of Life podcast. She is the owner and operator of Healthy Food Tastes Good and the host of Flower of Life podcast. Carmen, welcome to the show.
Hi, John. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here in your show.
It's a pleasure to have you on. So, are you excited for your trip back home to Spain?
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm flying in 5 hours. And I'm looking forward to it because the last time I saw my family, it was in Christmas. So that's already 8 months. And usually I go home every 3 months. So it's a long time. And I'm looking forward to get some hugs and kisses.
That's all good. Well, I hope you, I don't know if I should say I hope you can get stuck in Spain because Spain is such a beautiful country. I've never been and I've always wanted to go to.
Yeah, I can tell you a secret. And it's that my flight to come back was canceled. And I haven't booked another flight back. I want to wait until when the date comes, because now it's very weird, the situation, like they're canceling flights.
Mhm.
I heard other people getting their flights canceled, but I didn't say anything in work. I'm just supposed to come back on the 30th.
Well, I hope nobody from your work is going to be watching this.
No, I don't think so.
uh, so, what brought you to create Healthy Food Tastes Good?
Well, Healthy Food Tastes Good is a project that I was thinking about for a long time. Like, I did lots of courses, and the last courses I've been doing was more focused on nutrition. And with this, I think now people are more worried about health, and they want to be healthier. And there is no much information out there about nutrition. They are like real nutrition. And I want to bring other different I want to combine. I've done a few courses on nutrition, right? I've done the nutrition coach. I started nutritional therapy, and the last course I did was in the nutritional part of traditional Chinese medicine. And this is about the energy in food and how how eating different foods can affect us in different ways. And it's more about the yin and yang and the qualities that food have. And how food affects different organs, the 5 elements and all that. So I wanted to combine all the nutrition information that I've been studying for the last years in a business. So that's how Healthy Food Tastes Good and was born. And then I also wanted to combine my coaching skills because I know that some people want to eat healthy, but they find it very difficult. And because they have cravings, that they don't know how to control their cravings, or we get attached to certain foods, and so it's more kind of the mindset part of nutrition. So with this business, I want to combine both the nutrition knowledge that I've studied for the last years and my coaching skills.
Cool. So you have a 3-part video series. You talk about gaining physical, mental, and emotional balance. What's your approach to that?
Well, my approach to that is that cravings are the result of imbalances. I identified 4 types of imbalances: nutritional imbalances, chemical imbalances, emotional imbalances, and energy imbalances. And in these 3 video series, I talk about the different imbalances and how you can identify if you have any of those imbalances. And cravings are just a result of those imbalances. So when you have cravings, you know why you have the craving, because you have some kind of imbalance. So once you are aware of that, you can do something about it. Like, for example, nutritional imbalances, I talk about imbalances in macronutrients or micronutrients. Like if you have a very strict diet, or you have, maybe you cannot digest certain nutrients, you will be craving for those because your body doesn't get it. Chemical imbalances, I talk about different hormones, and like leptin, ghrelin, they control the appetite. I talk about the gut as well, the bacteria in the gut, the blood, the blood sugar. In the emotional imbalances, how we sometimes when we have feelings or emotions that we don't like, or that we don't want to feel, we try to cover those emotions with food. So that's why we eat is emotional eating. And we crave certain things depending on the emotion. And then also I talk about energy. And here I talk a little bit about what I learned in the nutrition part of the traditional Chinese medicine. In traditional Chinese medicine, food have different energy qualities. And this is something that is not many people know about it. But there is expansive foods that make us feel expansive, and the energy is going up. Then there is contractive foods that the energy is more contractive and make us feel more grounded. And then there's also foods that make us feel more centered and more balanced. So if we eat foods that are very expansive, like expansive foods are caffeine, sugar, simple carbohydrates, some tropical fruits. When we eat these foods, we feel very high. And then we'll crave for foods that make us feel more grounded, like meats. These are meats, foods that have been cooked in the oven, dry, like pizza or bread. Also salty foods make us feel more grounded. And foods that make us feel more centered and balanced are all the seasonal vegetables, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. So if we eat very expansive foods, we will crave grounded foods that make us feel grounded. And sometimes we are in that, like, for example, when we eat pizza and we crave ice cream or beer or both. And if we eat more grounded foods that make us feel more centered, we feel more in balance and we don't have so many cravings.
You talk a lot in your blog posts about how important breakfast is. Why is it so important? Why do you think it's so important?
I think it's very important because how you start your day, it makes a difference in your day. Like I noticed that in myself. Like if I start the day eating the sugar, I would be craving sugar all day. And I would be eating and feeling like I'm very sensitive to sugar. So I try to avoid sugar. I only eat sugar really if there is a birthday or something and there is a cake and I don't want to say no because, but I don't eat sugar. Like I never put sugar or anything on if I have to sweeten something, I use stevia. and because I'm very sensitive to sugar, and I know loads of people who are very sensitive to sugar as well. So if you start the breakfast eating sugar or some sugary foods, very high, like foods that are very high in sugar, then it's easier that you are going to have cravings during the day and you're going to crave for sugar. But if you start the day with proteins, for me, what works the best is start with proteins. And if I start the day with protein and my levels of sugar are low, and then I don't have cravings during the day, and then only eat when I feel hungry. And also, I also think it's important to have breakfast when you're hungry. Like if you're not hungry, you don't need to break the fast, because the fast is an important part of the healing process of the body, is healing itself when you're in a fasting state. And I think if you break that fast, is you're losing an opportunity for more healing in your body. And I'm big into healing, using food to heal and natural healing.
So basically, what you're saying is when you're fasting, you're releasing more melatonin in your body to increase uh, the healing process for your body.
When you're sleeping, when you're in a fasting state, your cells are regenerating. So you're regenerating more cells, and your body goes into a self-healing process. And when you start eating, then your body, all the energy goes to your digestive system to digest the food that you eat, and it stops the self-healing process.
I see. Um, well, it totally makes sense because because when you do sleep, you do release a lot of melatonin, and yeah, it's critical that we're not releasing cortisol when we're sleeping, so we can initiate that um, healing process. Uh, just moving forward, you have a 6-week program,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an interesting program. So, do you want to talk more about that?
Yes, it's an interesting program. I wanted to do a program that is different to other programs that are out there, that combined nutrition information and also mindset reset. So in the first module, we talk about where you are now, where you are, your present state, and where you want to be in relation to, this is more focused, this is a coaching program focused more on health. So where you want to be with your health. And you identify your blocks that are stopping you from being there already, your limiting beliefs, your unhealthy habits. And you also look at the image of yourself. What is the image that you have of yourself? And then to change from when you are now to where you want to be, you need to change a few things. You need to change the image of yourself and clear those limiting beliefs, install positive, empowering beliefs, and change your unhealthy habits for healthy habits. So once we have identified that in the first module, in the second module, we go to clear those limiting beliefs. In the third module, we install positive beliefs and empowering beliefs, and we work on the self-talk and affirmations and things, how you can implement positive mindset. Then it's about listening to your body, because I think it's very important to listen to your body. Sometimes we hear people telling you what you have to do, how many times you have to eat, what you have to eat. And even in the program, I have a meal plan and nutritional information. This is for information purposes. I don't want people to stick to a plan. I want people to be creative and eat what they feel is right for them. Because once you are aware of what you eat and how food makes you feel and affect your body, then you will choose foods that are good for you. because I know that some people, I have experienced that myself, and with other people as well, that when they have a plan, they stick to the plan, and they could have a few things can happen. Could happen that you want to break the rules. Like for me, it's like I don't like rules. So if I have a rule, I want to break that. If there is a rule, I want to break that rule. And I'm waiting for an opportunity to break the rule and eat what I'm not supposed to be eating. And other people also, what happens is that they stick to the plan, but then when they don't have a plan, they don't know what to do, and they feel lost, and they go back to their old habits. So with this program, I'm trying to avoid those two problems, and I want people to be aware of what they need and how food makes them feel, and how they get the energy, and then they're able to choose. So this module helps people to listen to their body and act accordingly to the messages they get from their body. And then there is another module is about self-love and self-appreciation, because I think this is very important, to love yourself and appreciate yourself. And there's lots, with this thing that in media we have to look like models, and it's unrealistic. Like everybody is beautiful, and you have to feel good and appreciate and accept who you are as a whole. And this module is very big. I talk about lots of how important is self-love, and it's not selfishness, because sometimes people feel that, if you are putting yourself first, maybe you're being selfish or something like that. And it's not. When you love yourself and when you put yourself first, you are in a better position to love others and to care for others. So I think it's important to do that. In this module, there are lots of practices, self-love practices, and to acknowledge also your skills, because you're not only your physical self, because you also have a good you have skills, you have values, you are your everything that you are. So appreciate who you are, as you are now. You don't need to be anything to be good. And then in the last module is about how to keep making progress, and I give people some techniques of how to keep motivated, how they can motivate themselves, because everybody has different motivation. They find motivations in different ways. And so what I find motivates, there are two different motivational forces. There are people that motivates, they run away from something they don't want. And other force is you move towards something. Like we have both. We run away from what we don't want, and we run towards what we want. But some people, they have a stronger one than the other. So it's about identifying how do you motivate yourself? Do you motivate yourself because you don't want your situation you are now and you want to go somewhere else? And this is good, but it's also important to have a vision, because if you're running away from something but you don't have a direction, it's difficult to get anywhere because you don't know where you're going. So in that module, I talk about that and how it's important to have a vision, even if you're running away from something. Like if you want weight and you don't want to, you're running away from that, it's important also to have a vision of how you want to look, or what you want to get to do. Like, for example, you want to have more energy to play with your kids, or you want to be able to swim better, or I don't know, depending of what is your goal. But it's important to have a vision as well, to keep you focused and get you direction. And then another thing that I share with people is what to do when you get fall off the track. If you start eating the wrong things and you feel, oh my God, I'm not going to go. So how you can go from there to go back to your to get back on track? Because if you one day we all make mistakes, and sometimes we have temptations, or or what, someday we have bad days as well. Like, okay, you have bad day, today it was not your best day, but it's okay, tomorrow you can get back on track, and it's okay. You can accept yourself, and why that happened, analyze the situation, what was the trigger, how you can analyze that, what are you going to do to avoid that situation again, and test the situation again, test in your mind what are you going to do, and if that will work, and then you have strategies for the next time. Like, I don't know, maybe some people go to parties and they find very difficult to not to eat the things that they don't want to eat because and then they feel bad. It's not, if you eat something you have to feel good, and it's not like we're not, I don't think we should be like too strict with ourselves. Like, we should be like go with the flow, and give ourselves permission and the freedom to do what we need, what we are doing. Like, yes.
You actually started the Flower of Life podcast. What was the trigger for you starting this podcast?
The trigger to starting the podcast, when I always wanted to do a podcast, but I thought it was very like the editing part was stopping me, because I work in the technology. I work as a business analyst in tech, but I don't want to spend a lot of time in technology trying to figure out things out. But when we did this, I saw this the Broadcast Yourself course, and because I did the Business Accelerator course before, I know the style of the course and I really like it. And then I just tried out and I started to do it, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy talking to people, having interesting conversations, and talking to people who like helping other people. Like, all the people I interview in my podcast are people who are passionate about helping other people and making a difference in the world. And I love talking to these amazing, inspiring people, and helping them with their business as well. I want other people to be successful more than me. This is something I have, like, I love people being successful, and I'm not much about my own success, but I like I really feel good when I see other people being successful and achieving their goals.
I know the feeling too. It makes you so happy seeing other people go forward with their life and their business and just everything. It's a great feeling. One of your most recent discussions in your podcast with Ezra, I'm gonna mispronounce his last name, or her name, Nahumuri.
Nahumuri, yes.
Yeah, you guys talked about how you went from depression to conscious living. What were the key takeaways for yourself?
For me, the takeaways is about how important it is to make a decision. Like, you can be in a very low place and stay there forever if you never make the decision that you want to change your situation. And that's with everything in life. The first thing you need is to make the decision. If you want to stop smoking, if you want to start to have a healthy lifestyle, if you want to change jobs, whatever you want in life, the first thing you need is to make the decision. And once you have made the decision, is a shift in your mindset that helps you to find help. So he changed his mindset and he said, "No, this is enough. Is enough. I don't want to live like this forever. I just had enough." And then he started to attract people who help him, and they show him the techniques that work for him, because everybody is different. But he found the people that help him to get the techniques that to show him the techniques that help him to get out of that deep depression. And then he was in the flow, and he became more like conscious about his life, and and he changed his life and his mindset.
Cool. You also talked about something that's I found actually really interesting, which is called the bio diet.
The bio diet, yes.
Yeah, what exactly is that?
The bio diet, that was another of my episodes. This is a kind of it's a diet, is a keto diet that is focused on you eat very low carbohydrates and very high fats, and you keep your proteins the same. Because if you eat too much protein, it becomes carbohydrates. So you keep your proteins at the same level, but instead of eating more you reduce your carbohydrates to very low, and you increase your fat. So what happens when you do that is that, well, you reduce all the sugar, all the most of the processed foods, because most of the processed foods have sugar and carbohydrates, and are a mix. Most of them are a mix of carbohydrates and fat. So you reduce that, and then you eat loads of nuts. There are different types of keto diet, but he is promoting a healthy keto diet that is focused on eating healthy fats from nuts, from meat, from fish, from good oils, low in omega-6, because if you eat too much omega-6 compared with omega-3 ratio, then you can get inflammation, and that's not good. So keeping your omega-3/6 low is good, and it has lots of benefits for your mind. Is like instead of you're running in with carbs, you're running with ketones, and is this at the in the originally this was a therapeutic diet, and now there are like loads of people using this keto diet to lose weight, and it has lots of benefits. Like most of the benefits are that you lose weight and you feel more energetic, and he was talking about all the benefits that he got from this diet. He wrote a book, and now he's teaching in the universities and many places about this diet and all the benefits.
Just staying with this because I'm really fascinated with this whole keto diet because I kind of agree. I really agree with it. Um, does he promote this as a long-term diet, a short-term diet? How do you see it personally?
He promotes this as a lifestyle diet. So it's a lifestyle. You just change the way you eat, and you change your. He says that if you change the way you eat, you change your life. Because if you change and you do the keto diet for a while and then you go back to your normal diet, you don't get all the benefits. So to get all the benefits, you need to be making it as a lifestyle change.
Have you tried it?
I tried it for a while, yeah, because I tried all diets. I like trying loads of things. I always there for everything, and I tried it, and it was amazing. I was really impressed. Like I was not hungry. When you eat fat, you think that you're going to get fat, but it's not true. I lost weight, so I was. It took me a while to get to that because your body needs to adapt to the new diet. So it took me a few days, I think around a week. But then after that, I was not hungry. I was eating loads of fats, but because I don't eat meat, I don't eat dairy, I'm I kind of eat like 90% vegan diet. I eat sometimes I eat fish, but I eat lots of nuts and avocado. And yeah, I found it very interesting that I didn't feel hungry at all. I didn't think about food at all, and I was eating very simple food. Like I didn't have to spend time like cooking, which I miss because I like cooking. and and it was good, but this I think for me it was difficult to maintain because then I that was before Christmas, and then I went to Spain for Christmas, and then when you're with people, it's difficult to keep a certain diet. Like in Spain, is when I go to Spain, I kind of eat everything. I eat less meat, and I try to eat more vegetables. Sometimes I bring my own food when I have gatherings. But yeah, you go out with your friends, you're meeting with your family, you need to be open, and I don't like to be restricted.
No, I know that feeling. Every time I go to Greece, I always gain weight,
Yes. I
and
can imagine.
it's interesting because my genetic structure is similar to yours. We're both tailored to be eating the Mediterranean diet because of our geographical location. So, and I know there's this one doctor out there, Doctor. Uh, I can't remember his name's just it's evading me, but he said that we have to be eating according to our geographical location and historical ancestral genetic makeup, and to be eating like for you and I, for example, like it's a lot of heavy fats, a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, because the Mediterranean diet, that's where we're from. So when we're being introduced to something like a bio diet where it's like heavy fats, heavy meats, heavy this, it's more of the northern hemisphere kind of thing, like England, Sweden, Norway, Canada, northern Canada, Russia, like stuff like that. It's fascinating to see um, how we're actually tailored. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I personally, I don't like being strict. Or I want to be like, if I'm going out with a friend, and I feel like having a beer, why I'm not going to have beer? It makes me happy, and it's not like And I don't want to be, oh, I cannot eat this, I cannot eat that. I don't like being that way. I like being going with the flow. And this is part of my culture as well. Like my culture in Spain, you is part of our culture is sharing food and sharing drinks and sharing conversations. And this is the part of the culture that I miss the most here in Ireland, because here you go for a drink and there is just a drink, or you go for dinner and you just have dinner or a few drinks. But to do that, you have to do like a gathering in the house, something like that. But is in Spain is different. It's like the dinner, maybe it's like 3 hours, and you're eating different things, and it's like a relaxed atmosphere, and I really like that, and I miss that a lot. And people are different. I don't know. That's what works for me. For me is I'm open, and I don't like to be restricted. I like to be free, and I like to eat and drink whatever I feel at the moment. And because I value health is very important for me, so I keep a balance. So if one day I eat too much, then the next day I eat more vegetables or salads or things like that, because I value, because of my values. And I think that's important, what you value as well, how your values, what you value in your life, because you're going to make decisions based on your values.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Like even in Greece, it's the same thing. Like if you go and eat, you're eating with friends, family, and it's like a 3 hour ordeal. And after that, you go party. It's an event to go, like, to go and have dinner. Here in Toronto, in Canada, it's just like it is in Ireland. It's like you're going for dinner, you're going for dinner.
Yeah.
An hour at the very most, and then everybody goes home. So I'm like you, like, I miss that part of that social aspect of eating. Um, do you do you see that correlation between how the northern the northern the northern countries are having a higher risk of depression because of that, rather than like, the Mediterranean way? And I think it's more like towards that equator, because everybody's like that in that equator. It's not just Mediterranean, but you and I are both from Mediterranean, and we see it more. Do you see that correlation between the social aspect of dinner and depression and nutrition?
Yes, I see that. I see that. And also, I think what is important is the sun as well. There is more sunlight. There is different. The culture is different, and people are more outside. Like in the Mediterranean countries, people spend more time outside, and I think it's important to get some energy from the sun. People are more open to talk as well. Like we are more like we talk about everything and anything, and we express ourselves, and that helps you to get to liberate or release kind of energy that you maybe have stored. And in the north, in the countries that are in the north part, are more like, because there is less sun, they spend more time inside, and also they spend more time inside in themselves. Like people, they're not so open to talk about certain things, and they keep things inside themselves. They have loads of taboos, and I think that that's another that's why people get into depression, because maybe in countries that are more like in the Mediterranean countries with more sun, people are more open. We express ourselves. Maybe we complain a lot, but it's a way to liberate energy. It's better to complain and let it out, and then you're happy. Sometimes you meet together with people and they're complaining about the government, about politics, about blah, blah, but they just let it go, and then just they go back to their lives. When maybe in some countries where here people are more like they keep everything for themselves, and that's worse for the mind, I think.
Interesting. Um, let's switch gears here a little bit. Your podcast was not always called Flower of Life Podcast. What changed?
Well, change, it was an ayahuasca experience. I was with when I started my podcast. I started the podcast, and before I did my first episode, I was like, "Oh my god, I have lots of I have an idea for my podcast," but then I was like, "Oh, I don't know if this is the best idea or not," and I was doubting myself, and I was really like, I realized that I have been like that for a long time. Like all my life, I've been like feeling lost and changing things and trying to everything, but then don't get into nothing. Like, and I started my podcast with one episode being honest about my life, saying this is my struggle. My whole life, I've been struggling with finding myself, and I want to do this podcast to express myself and to help other people who are may feel like me. And then after that, I went to an ayahuasca ceremony retreat. And in that retreat, I have my intention was to find myself, or to find what I really was going to do with my life, with my business, because I always wanted to have my business, right? I have my job, but I quit my job and I started business. When I talk about that in my episode, but I always wanted to have my own business, but I've been changing from one to another, and I wanted to have real, what is it that I meant to be doing? What should I do? And that was my intention, to get direction and focus. And it was 3 nights at the ayahuasca ceremony. At the beginning, I was nervous because I've never taken drugs or anything, and I was like, "Oh, this! I don't know how I'm going to. Maybe I'm going to go crazy or something." But the people there, some of them, they had done that before, and they said, "No, you will be fine. It's great. It's a transformational experience. You will see. You're going to love it." And then I felt more relaxed. Other people were the first time, like me, and the first night was amazing. Like, I was like laughing without. I didn't know why I was laughing, but it was very weird. I had the intention that before the first night, I had the intention, ayahuasca. I give you my body, do what you need to do to heal me. That's what my intention for the first night. And I felt like I was observing my body, what it was doing. And it was like, I was yawning a lot, like, oh, doing this for 3 hours. And laughing like mad laughing. I didn't know why I was laughing, but I was observing my body laughing and yawning. And the people, I was like, maybe I'm annoying people because the other were very quiet. And I thought, okay, well, before the ceremony, Alan told us, you cease to express yourself, do whatever feels, you feel it. If you want to cry, if you want to shout, if you want to, whatever you need to do, you feel to do it. Don't care what other people think or feel, because whatever they feel is if they don't like it, is that this is trigger them, so they need that. So I just laugh, and people were quiet, but I was thinking maybe I am annoying them, because I don't know, but I don't care. I was letting myself laugh. And then the next day they told me, oh my God, Carmen, your laugh was so contagious. And I was, why? You didn't laugh. But they were not laughing because they didn't want to take that moment from me. So they said that they just like it. But the second night, it was weird because I didn't feel anything. And I didn't feel anything. And I took 2 shots because I think I was too much in my head. I was too much controlling. I want to, and I think that was my problem, was I was too, I wanted to control, and then I didn't get anything. And then the third night, I was like, yes, this is the night. I have to get it. This night is the night. And I had the intention, like, I want to find what is blocking me to not doing what is blocking me to change directions all the time, not be clear. I want to be confident. I want to be a confident woman. I want to know what I want, and I want to go for it. And that's my intention. And before the ceremony, they offer us a kind of a smoke, rape, it's called. And oh my God, this smoke did something in my stomach. It was like I started to feel my stomach, but it was good, because in ayahuasca, how you get rid of your blockages is when you vomit or you go to the toilet. So when I started to feel there, like something in my stomach, is like, this is good. This is kind of moving some kind of energy. And so I was like, I started to get into it. And then I had the first shot, and then I was with my eyes closed, focusing on myself, and I started to see like these colorful images of kids, like, and I like, like sweets, colorful images that kids like all about kids and children. And I started to connect with this. I was like, what is this? What is this? And I connected with that. And I realized that was my block. There was some kind of energy from my childhood, or I don't know, maybe I didn't play enough in my childhood and I didn't have enough fun, or I don't know where is this coming from, but I was still there. And it was like, one day I want one thing, another day I want another thing, and I don't want anything, and I want everything. Maybe because in my childhood I didn't have what I wanted to have. I always Like even when I wanted something for Christmas, they always brought me something that I didn't ask for. So maybe this is what's coming from it. I don't know. But and then I connected with that energy, and it's like, well, this is what I got to get rid of. When if I get rid of this energy, I'll be focused and I'll know what I want. And that it was difficult because I was part of my inner child. I felt that it was part of my inner child that I was there. And so I had to have a conversation with this energy and to convince it. It sounds a bit weird. This is how it went. And then I talked to this my inner child and said, okay, so now we're getting older and I'm 41 already. So it's time to grow. And we need to do something now. I appreciate all this and I'm grateful for this, but we need to change. Now it's time to change. So then I connected with this energy and I let it out the block and I felt so good. And then I took another shot of ayahuasca and I was dancing, celebrating that I got rid of this block. And then I felt like lights inside my body, in my arms, like lights, like kind of lightning inside me. And the guy who was next to me, he said that the day after he said that he saw me as Medusa. Medusa is a Greek monster kind of that has like snakes in the hair, and then if you look at her in the eyes, if you become a stone. But then he looked at me and at my eyes, and then I became an animal with big eyes. And other people told me that when they look at me, I was changing. My face was a man, then I changed to an old woman, then a kid, then a woman, then I was changing my identity somehow. I don't know, but it was so powerful. And then the days after, I had weird dreams, like very weird dreams that I couldn't remember when I woke up. But I know that the ayahuasca was still working. And now I feel like I don't have these insecurities or self-doubt that I had before. Now I know where I'm going. I really love my podcast and I know where I'm going. And it's not so important for me to be successful. Like before, I think I wanted to be successful as running away from failure. But now, because I don't care if I fail, I'm not so attached to success. And I'm really like the Johnny, my friend told me that the shaman who I did this with, he told me that is letting go, means that you let things go. And I think I let go loads of things about what people think. And that's also helping me to move forward. So that was a very interesting experience. And then I recorded the second episode about this ayahuasca experience. And then I started recording episodes one after another.
Yeah, I noticed that. I mean, you went from wallflower to like I was chasing you and everybody's chasing me and I'm chasing you, like in the broadcast herself. It was I was like, okay, something went, and then you interviewed me and you told me about your ayahuasca. I'm like, okay, that's what changed. That's what changed. Do you think this was just psychosomatic? Do you think this was like or do you think this was like a real thing? Because you're talking to a skeptic, because I don't understand this. And I've always been the type of person where it's like, I've always taken ownership of everything that I do, that everything is my fault. If I fail, it's my fault. I missed something. And I've always been good at self reflection. So, and I've always been a skeptic. So, this is the skeptic coming out. Do you think that this is just a trick that the drug is playing on your mind to open it up so you could see yourself, what's going on.
Like, you mean like it's more me than ayahuasca, you mean?
Yeah, like it's more you more than the drug. The drug would be like more like a I think somebody sent who actually said it. Said it. It's like a false door to heaven.
Yes. Well, I think I don't know the truth. It's difficult to know the truth on these things. I can only talk about my opinion. I believe in. I did one of the courses I did is shamanic practitioner. I feel connected with nature. I believe in energy and all these kind of things, and I believe in plant medicine. I also believe that intention is very important. Like all the rituals, the ritual is not important. What is important is the intention. The ritual is just a tool to get you there. So I think I agree with you in that I think lots of that was myself. Myself brought me there. Myself brought me to that environment and helped me to get, because that was my intention. It's like when we like similar to what I discussed earlier with Ethra. He made the decision. Enough is enough. I want to change, and then suddenly people who could help him appear in his life, and then he changed. So I think this is similar. Once you have the intention, I have this intention and it's strong enough. And then I met Allen, because before I wanted to try ayahuasca before, like for years, but I didn't find anybody who was doing it. So I was ready for it. I met Allen. He told me he did ayahuasca retreats. I told him, okay, next time you do it, I want to be there. And but I believe, I think it's important also your beliefs. Like I believe like the plant has a spirit, and that spirit is medicine. So that belief is also helping. Like it's the placebo effect, right? The placebo effect is you. It's not the drug or whatever. It's you. So I think I agree with you in that as well. I think it depends on your beliefs, but if you believe you can get something, and you have the intention and you make the decision, you'll get there.
Cool. You also talked about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Now, this has always fascinated me since my early 30s, and I never did anything with it. So, how does NLP help? What is NLP first and foremost, and how does it help you?
NLP is a neuro-linguistic programming. Is how you can change. Is a tool. Well, it's a set of tools, of techniques that help you to change your behaviors. Well, first to become aware of your behaviors, your habits, your programs in your mind, your beliefs, and then it's a set of tools and techniques to change them. It changed my life. I was always interested in how our minds work, and I was also very aware of how our mind would be powerful. Like I'm kind of like you. Like I think everything is my fault, and I always wanted to change. I've always been in this continuous improvement path. I wanted to improve myself. And my life, if you want to improve something, I believe I had to learn how to improve myself. So I was always very kind of critical with myself. So I learned about neuro-linguistic programming and how I can reprogram my mind, because we have lots of programs in our mind that were installed when we were, most of them when we were before 7 years old, and it's not something that we choose. But we have lots of programs there. So in neuro-linguistic programming, you can see how you're running those programs, and and how you can change them. And it's like reality comes to you from different sources, like with what you see, what you feel, what you hear, and then you make sense of all the information, and then you create your experience. So you can change your experience by changing how you process the information. So you can uninstall your programs and install better programs that are more useful for you. And also you can be aware of how you process information and how you because everybody's different, and then you can use that as a tool to achieve your goals or to change behaviors or habits. And it has helped me in my life in lots of challenging situations, like when I was really feeling very in challenging times that I went through my life. It helped me to look at things from different perspective. Like, for example, when I was the most challenging time in my life is when I was on my honeymoon and I found out that my husband had been having fun with other women. That was very difficult for me. And then when I was in that situation, I had to process that for a while. But with coaching and NLP helped me to see that from different perspective, like taking myself out of the situation, and it helped me to do what it was best for me, and to deal also with people, like in communication with people. It's also NLP and helped me to see the relationship with the person from another perspective, and not to get so involved. Sometimes we get involved and we take things personally. So in situations that are challenging within relationships, it's good to have these tools, because it helps you to put yourself in perspective and see things from a different perspective, like no so involved, and that helps you to deal with the situations in a way that is better for you, because at the end of it, you don't want your emotions run the show. You want to run the show yourself, but you want to make good decisions that will make you feel that you have the power and that you're going to achieve the result that you want.
Interesting. So it's basically telling yourself how to run the show.
Yes. So you have the power, because you are when you are aware of how. It's also about emotional intelligence, right? If you know how you behave and other people behave, and you know why people are behaving that way, you don't take that personally. And then when you don't take things personally and you see that from a perspective, from another perspective, then you can make decision of how, if you want the other person to do something for you, you can be more how do you say when you want people to do, when you want to persuade, you can be more persuasive because you know why people behave in that way, and why, so not also you learn about yourself, but you also learn about other people, and you learn how to talk to people. Also in coaching, when you coach people, when I'm coaching people, I use loads of NLP. And when I listen in, not only this, I don't listen the story they're telling me. I listen for what is behind the story. What are their values? How they process information? So this is what I'm listening. I'm not listening to the story they are telling me, because the story is not important. So with these tools, I help them to change their mindset and change their perspective. When they change their perspective, then they change. Everything changes when you see things from different perspective.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. It actually sounds quite complicated to use. Is there like a specific easy way, like a NLP for dummies like me?
Well, there's like a simple thing is there is like meta programs, or you can learn about meta programs. Meta program is how people process information. And then when you are aware of your own meta programs on other people's meta programs, then you know where they're coming from and why they say what they do what they do. But maybe a simple thing is to learn about what people value, like what is important for them. Like when someone is talking, if you're listen to what they're saying, what is important for them, and then, for example, a simple example, right? Someone is feeling very bad and they don't do anything because they feel bad and they feel low and they don't have any motivation to do anything, and they're there, and you're not going to help them from there with that, telling them, oh yeah, you have to do it, because it's good for you, because they don't care about themselves. They are really in a very low place. They don't care about themselves. You need to is if you look at their values, what they value more than themselves, then you can help them to get out of there. If they have kids and they value their family and they have kids, and this, okay, you're very low. I know that I understand is you start from where they are and then you move them up, but it's important to meet them where they are, because they have the pain. So feel the pain with them. I feel your pain. I feel that you are really in this situation. I felt like that before. I maybe share something like to make them feel like you know where they're coming from, and that you feel their pain, and then start to make them feel more comfortable and more like looking at the situation from a different perspective. Like, I know where you are now, and I know that for you, your family is very important. And then you start like looking at their values and then make them change, because there is something bigger than themselves. Like your kids are very important for you, and they deserve someone who is happy and is there for them, and you deserve to show them how much you love them. And you start to repeat things that they already tell you, because sometimes they already tell you all the things that you need. Or if someone is very religious, maybe you can use that as well. Okay, so I know where you are now, but God it put you here for some reason, and you start to use that as a way to make them feel, oh yes, like they have to find a reason that is bigger than themselves to get out of that situation. Or that's a simple example, but then it becomes more complicated. It depends on the issue they're working on or they want to get from the coaching.
Right. I find it really important, like you said at the beginning of it, that if somebody has lived through something that they're going through, it becomes easier to make that connection. Um, like you've been through a lot of women go through, and actually some men go through. So I'm sure it'll be easier for you to connect that way with people.
Yes, yeah, I connect with people who now I'm like meeting lots of women in my life. I never met so many women in my life before. Like, and now in the last 5 years that I'm single, I meet lots of women, and lots of women who are like went through similar situations that I went through. And I don't know, I think that you meet more. Like before, I always was kind of rejected my feminine side because of how the situation at home, and I always wanted to be more like a man. Like I want to have my own independence, and I got into relationships that maybe I was more kind of use more my masculine energy more than my feminine energy. But then I think I needed to nurture more my feminine energy, and now and in the last years I've met lots of women that help me to do that.
I think it's important. I think a lot of women that are turning into their masculine thing, coming from a guy, that's not really attractive.
No, you don't think so?
I don't think, no. I think a woman's power comes from her femininity. I've always believed that. I've always believed the more feminine a woman can be, the more attractive she is to me. That's personal.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice to hear. I found like in my when I was at home, like my dad was working and my mom was a housewife, and my family were very strict and very kind of a patriarchal kind of style. So everything was my dad was making decisions for everything, and my dad made decisions for when I went to my mom. Oh, ask your dad, ask your dad, ask your dad. For me, it's like I don't want to be like this, and always fighting for money. And I was like, I want to be independence. I want to be have my own money. I never want to be dependent on a man, and I want to be independent woman, and I want to. I was always more close to men because I had the women model that I had maybe was not very empowering model. But then during the last years, I have to found the power in my femininity, like being feminine in the different way. Like now I'm more with my mom. I had a better relationship. I always had a difficult relationship with my mother, but now for the last years, my parents now are not together anymore, and since then, I think I have a better relationship with my mother. And more, I'm, and I know I kind of connect with her better than before. Before I was not, I didn't understand her. Now I understand her better
Yeah,
as a woman.
yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like a woman should be submissive and
No, 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 no.
they know. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
Yes.
she needs to find her femininity and use it properly.
Yeah,
That
but that,
that's what I find very attractive.
yeah, that's what I confuse that with that. I confuse being feminine with being submissive, and not, and that's why I didn't want to be feminine. But then I realized that's not femininity, it's different things. That's
Yeah,
was my mistake. That's what I got confused with that.
yeah. I think a lot of women out there are confused with that. Um, so let's switch gears. I'm not going to try and keep you. We're coming close to the end now. I know you got a flight to catch very soon. So, um, in your first podcast, you talked about how you didn't like sales.
Yes.
Where did that come from? Where did that stem from? And do you still have those reservations?
I was like, for me, sales was like putting myself out there. And I had very difficult, I was like it's difficult to explain, but it was, for me, sales was like, even though I knew that I had the best products and that I have I was good at what I was doing when I was offering my services, it was the thing that I have to put myself out there, and maybe I didn't value myself enough. I think it's more about worth, self-worth, and I think that was the issue. My issue was like I was not. Um, I didn't value myself, even though I know that my products were good, my services, my everything that I offered, but it was more about myself. And now I look at this differently because I think I value myself more since the last ayahuasca ceremony. Um, because lots of things have changed since then, and I don't have that. Like, just the fact that I'm looking back and I'm realizing that I hadn't seen that before. Maybe I know that it was like I didn't want to be seen, but I was think it was more like being shy or something like that. And but now I think it's more like I didn't value myself much, and now is I don't I'm not. maybe sometimes maybe I compare myself to other people. I think that's it. Yeah, I compare myself to other people, and I was like, other people were better than me, so why they're going to buy from me when there are other people who are better than me? And now I don't do that. Now I am who I am. I'm not pretending to be better than anyone. I am who I am, and I'm doing my best. And everybody is doing their best, and everybody is free to. Um, Clients will go to someone who resonates with them. So I think I think I changed that. Yeah, now I don't compare myself to other people. Now I know, like, okay, I'm doing my best, and other people, they do their best, and everybody is different. And I'm yeah, I think I improved that part.
Well, you have some really great products and you shouldn't doubt yourself. um, what's the one thing that you do on a daily basis that amplifies your success?
One thing that amplifies my success, I think, is more my mindset, that I'm I'll I want to improve myself constantly. I'm looking at ways to improve myself. So what I do today is different to what I did last week or 10 days ago, or what I'm going to do next month. I don't like rules. Like, I know some people, they have their morning routine and they that, or the things they do every day, and that works for them and it's great. I'm not that kind of person. I get bored with those type of things. Like, I start something and I'm very, very excited when I do something, but then after a week I feel bored and I need something new. So those things, like one thing that I do every day, is not working for me. So I do what it feels like. For example, now I'm chanting a mantra that my friend was sharing when in her podcast. I don't know. I asked her to share a mantra with the listeners, and she shared this mantra. And then I don't know that 2 days later, I have to chant this mantra was for me. I have this. I'm very intuitive person. I have a strong intuition. So my intuition was telling me this mantra was for you. You need to chant this mantra. So I started, and I'm never into mantras, really. I know that she's passionate about mantras, and I wanted her to talk about that. But I never was into mantras because I practice lots of different types of meditation. But the mantras meditation, I get distracted. When I'm chanting the mantra, I'm thinking of lots of other things. When I can be like sitting here thinking of nothing for minutes. But when I'm chanting, it's like my mind is going very fast. So that's why I never got the mantras thing. But with this mantra, I've been chanting this mantra for this week, and I feel lots of benefits. And if I don't chant the mantra one day, my body is asking me, you need to chant the mantra. And I just spend maybe 5 minutes, and this is what I'm doing this week. But maybe next week or in 10 days, I'll be doing something different.
I'm the same way. I have the whole squirrel syndrome. Like this week I'm doing one thing, and next week I'm doing something totally different. So mantras don't work for me. Meditation doesn't work for me. Maybe I just don't allow it to work for me. With the increase in people suffering from depression from the lockdown, what's the one thing that you could tell them to keep their hopes up?
Depression is a topic that is very big now, because now with all this lockdown and people are getting more into themselves. Like, I would say that I understand how they feel, because I was there before, like when I had challenges in my life. And to get out, I would say get out. Don't put everything, leave everything inside, go out. Go to nature. Um, going to nature is something that is very easy. You just need to, if you live in the countryside, you just want to go for a walk and do nothing, just observe the countryside, the nature, and let it heal you. And your mindset changes. Like I was, when this pandemic started, I was feeling very angry, very frustrated. I have loads of feelings that I didn't want to have. And what helped me was to go out in nature and go for walks. And that those 2 hours, 1 hour walks changed my mindset. And then I came back and I was a different person. And this is something easy that you can do. You don't need to do anything. Just go out in nature and then make the decision that you don't want to be like this anymore. You know, you deserve to have a happy life. You are here for a reason. You were born because you had to be here now, right now. This is your mission, to be here in this world right now, and you have to accomplish your mission. And when you're depressed, you don't realize how much your life is important, and your life is very important. And even you don't need to do like amazing things. Just by being there, by being you, is an amazing thing. So sometimes people think that, oh, I have to be this, I have to be that, this, with this kind of motivation stuff that is like, sometimes we feel bad because we are not achieving anything or something. But you don't need to achieve anything. You don't need to be anything else that you are right now to be amazing. You can make an impact with the people you talk every day, or even if you don't talk to people. Like I've been isolated I haven't talked to many people apart from people from work or in these calls. But yeah, I feel if you make the decision that you just, it's not worth it to feel like that, and value yourself and love yourself, and you have everything that you need to. There is nothing you need else. There is nothing else that you need to be happy. Happiness is inside yourself. You were born for a reason, and you're here right now for a reason. And just being here is you're doing what you need to do. So there's nothing else you need to do to be happy, and trust, and let trust that everything is going to be good, and trust that you have everything that you need. Like the universe will provide for you. And I know this is tough for people who have lost their jobs, but it's important to focus on the positives. And when you focus on the lack, what you don't have, is like you're attracting more of that. Think about what you can do. Like now there's lots of opportunities to do things. Look at the opportunities you have are there around, and what you can do to how you can serve other people. How, now there is with internet and how things work, is there's loads of opportunities out there. We just need to be open to see them. But you need to get out of this place where it's dark. You just need to see the light. There is the light there, and you can shine.
Amazing message. Where do you see Flower of Life podcast and yourself personally in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, well, hopefully I'll be full time doing podcasting and my business. I love to be living in a place where it's more like the nice weather, or traveling around. And I like to see my family more often. I like to find someone to share my life with, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, and the Flower of Light podcast. I like to have online courses. I want to offer online courses as well as the episodes and the podcast, and make it like an online business.
Awesome. So I ask this for everybody that comes on my show. If you could pick up the phone and you can call yourself when you were 20 years old, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, my 20 years old. That was 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. Sometimes I still feel like a 20 years old, but just have fun. Have fun. My 20 years old was having lots of fun. Maybe I need to go back to my 20 years old. What I would say, just be yourself and I don't know. I think I'm happy with my life when I was 20 years old. I was so happy and I was like having lots of fun. I think my life was great when I was 20. So I wouldn't say anything like, yeah, I had a great life when I was 20.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, looking back from now till then, would you
Mhm.
change anything?
No, I don't like, I don't think, no, I don't like regretting things. I don't regret things or want to change things. Sometimes when you're in a place where like things, why I should have done this, I should have done that, but when I look at this in perspective, it's like, okay, this happened because it had to happen, and acceptance. I accept my life, and of course now is if you look back, everybody, if you look back, you could have done things differently because you know things that you didn't know before. But with the information that I had at that time, I did my best, and that's all I can say. Like according to my experience and the information I had, I did my best, or what I took the decisions that I thought it was the best decisions at that time. And if I go back, I would have done the same. Of course, it's easier now to say now that I know more that I could have done differently. But in that situation, I did the best, and I wouldn't have done anything in other way.
That's great. Not a lot of people say that. Not a lot of people say that. A lot of people will go back and change this and that. But I'm with you. Um, I wouldn't change anything that I went through either.
I think your challenges make you a stronger person as well.
Well, it defines the person that you are
Yes.
right now. So, um, where can people find more about you?
Well, people find me in my website, floweroflifepodcast.com and healthyfoodtastesgood.com. And I'm also in Facebook and Instagram.
Cool. And for everybody out there listening, we are going to be posting all her links in the show notes below. Whether you're watching this on YouTube, listening to it on Spotify or um, iTunes, all the links are going to be in the notes, so you can contact Carmen uh, at your leisure. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts? No, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed that. I like your energy and your style of interviewing. I think you're great. I'm I feel very grateful for being here. Thank you, John.
It's an
And I
honor.
wish you all the best. Well, we'll be in touch. But
Yeah,
yeah, I wish you all the best with your podcast. You're great. You're
thank
doing a
you,
great job.
thank you. Carmen, I do appreciate you for who you are and your experiences. I thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your past with us. And maybe somebody out there can hear you that's been, maybe you and I can reach out to that one person to help them. So hard times are just a temporary test that we need to go through. What you need to understand is that go, when you do get out of whatever you're going through, you will become stronger than ever before. And you don't need to go through it alone. Always know that you are not alone. Stay tuned for more real people with amazing stories just like yours. Until then, to everyone out there listening, I wish you a good morning, good afternoon, or a good night, wherever you may be in this crazy world.